Everybody, Ron Metches here again. Well, I got a mystery package from Topher the other day, and I have no idea what's in here other than it's a bunch of iron meteorite slices. And apparently they're kind of rusty. He's asked me to put them through the electrolysis tank and remove all the corrosion and whatnot, so I really don't know what's in here. So it's going to be kind of a little adventure to see what we have, and we're going to go through the whole process of pre-weighing, electrolysis, and weighing afterwards, see what they look like, and see how good they come out. But can't be any worse than what they are now. So here we go. Okay, let's see what we got here. Let's open her up and see what surprises Topher sent us. So much work we have to do, actually. A lot of stuff in here. 2 pounds or something. Oh, he sent a t-shirt. Oh, look at that. This is, oh my gosh. This looks like a mess. I don't know, that's ammonium lusta or something like that. I don't know, it's a, can't really tell the grain. Fine grain, could be a Gibeon, I guess. Nice solid piece. Let's see what the t-shirt is. Oh, the Knowledge Volite t-shirt. That's his latest creation. Well, thank you, Topher. I will wear that on the next meetup. Let's see what else we got here. Anything else? The bag is empty. There's one more. Oh, so he's let me see what this is. It's getting smaller and smaller. Oh, several small slices. Looks like about 5 or 6 slices here. Let's see what we got. Okay, it's not too awful bad. There's some corrosion on there, as you can see. 1, 2, 3. Oh, this shouldn't be too bad. Yeah, it's mostly in the little cracks there in the grain structure. That shouldn't be too hard to get out. 4. Yeah, this looks like the worst one. Oh, yeah, I can see right along in here, you can see the corrosion creeping along into the finer crystal lines there. Okay, so there's 5. So this is the big Mamu right here. This has to be the Gibeon. Nice solid rock. I wouldn't mind owning this one myself. You have a few Gibeons already, but this is a very nice piece. Certainly it is a Gibeon. It's nicely polished too. That makes it really easy to bring back. So I don't have to spend a lot of time sanding. That's a good thing. Okay, so that's what we have to do. That's what we have to work with. And I see the scope of the project. Anyway, onward and upward. Let's see how this works out. Okay, let's take a closer look at what Topher sent me. This piece, I'm assuming, is a Gibeon. I do see a kind of a fine grain structure right in this area right here. However, it's kind of cloudy. You can't really make out any distinct structure. We can fix that. It's an end cut with another slice on the other side, which is kind of equally in bad shape. Got some fingerprints. Don't see a lot of corrosion, but it has a lot of surface damage. It's kind of cloudy on the etch. This part right here looks like it someday may separate from the main mass here. It looks kind of cracked all the way around. I'm not sure what's going to happen there. Hopefully it doesn't come off in the electrolysis process, but overall, a very nice piece. Wouldn't mind owning this one myself if I didn't already have 2 or 3 Gibeons up there. One about this size. And it is an end cut as well. But this isn't too bad. I think we can do quite a bit with this one. These are the 5 thin slices Topher sent me, and each one has a little bit of corrosion along the grain structure. You can see it kind of creeping into the smaller cracks, smaller grains, and it's on both sides. And I think that'll be pretty easy to clean up. This is a medium octahedrite, looks like, to my untrained eye. That shouldn't be too bad. I'll just put these, shouldn't take more than a few days to do these. Here's the other one. Oh yeah, it's got quite a bit of corrosion right in this area right here. This one has quite a bit of corrosion, especially right in here. You can actually feel the corrosion lying above the plane of the slice. It's kind of rough to the touch. So you can probably sand that off no problem. That one's not too bad. But still, you can see it's getting into the finer grain. Oh, there we go. It's a nice picture. The fine grains there. And the last one. This one doesn't look... Yeah, there's some right there. So yeah, we have a little bit of work to do. I think we can make these look a little bit better. Okay. So next thing is to weigh these. So I've got my kitchen scale. Unfortunately, this doesn't do fractions of a gram, it's to the whole gram. It'll work for the big rock, but I don't know about the little ones. So let's do, this is a pre-soak weight. This one is 1,331 grams. Take it off, we'll do it a couple of times. And ensure the tear is at 0. Okay, 1,331. Okay, we'll call that 1,331. Okay, let's do the first small piece. It'll be 29 grams. Second small piece. Wait a minute. 31 grams. 30 grams. 30 grams. Do that a couple of times. Here it's 0. Okay, we'll call that 30 grams. Third piece. 36 grams. Try it a couple of times here. 37 grams. Okay, we'll call that 36. Seems to be kind of in the middle there. Wish I had a better scale, but this is what I have to work with. Okay, 36. We'll call it 36 plus. Or 37 minus. 26 grams for the fourth piece. Let's make sure we got the tear. 0. 26 grams, maybe slightly over. And the last one. 26, 25. Okay. Call it 25 grams probably, maybe a little bit more. 25. Okay, so there we have our weights. Next step, let's put them in the electrolysis tank. I'll do the little ones first because I don't think they're going to take very long. The big one may take a while. So set up an electrolysis tank is relatively simple. Start with a tank, fill it with distilled water, put in a chemical that creates the electrolyte. In this case, I'm using some Spa Up, pH Up. It's got potassium carbonate in it. That's what creates the conductivity in the water. We have 2 graphite plates that act as the anode. I use 2 because I put one on either side of the sample to pull any impurities from both sides at the same time. Each sample down here is going to be wrapped in some iron wire. We use plain iron. Don't use stainless because you'll end up creating hexavalent chromium, which is highly carcinogenic. Everything is hooked up by a bunch of wires, which are relatively simple. It's kind of like charging a battery. So I think with that, we're good to go. So let's get this puppy hooked up and running. So we're getting ready to start the electrolysis. I've done all the prep work. I've wrapped all the specimens in iron wire. I've got everything hooked up electrically. I have the positive of the power supply going to the graphite plates, which are connected in parallel. I've got the negative of the power supply going to the rebar, so you get negative to positive electron flow. Over here we have the distilled water, which will be used to create the electrolyte. And to make the water conductive, I'm using spa pH ups available at any home store or any spa store. This particular brand contains potassium carbonate, which has worked very well for me in the past. You can actually see the bubbles start forming on both the anode and cathode pieces. So I'm going to wrap each piece, left a little pigtail of wire is going to be wrapped around the rebar so that all the electricity goes into the rebar, down into the piece, and we start our complete circuit through the electrolyte. So here we go. We're all set to go. I put in a couple ounces of the pH up. I'm going to turn on the power supply now and set that to 12 volts. Up too high. There we go. Yep, this is kind of a touchy power supply. It's not real accurate, but it's good enough. Okay, 12 volts, 11.8, and a little higher. Just a skosh. There we go. Now 12 and a half. Okay, current should be flowing right now. We're all hooked up. Oh, no, it shouldn't be flowing. Forgot a connection. So let's put this on there. There we go. 1 3/4 amps. Okay, I've turned the power supply down to exactly 12 volts. You can see the current's dropped a little bit, 1.64 amps. It's a minor change. You can see we're getting lots of bubbles off the graphite plates. Samples are bubbling like crazy on both sides, which is exactly why you have 2 plates in there. And we're in business. Now my tank is only good for apparently 3 little pieces, so we're going to do this in probably 2 or 3 batches. So see how long this takes. So process has begun. Here's what the typical piece coming out of the tank looks like. Those yellow splotches on there are actually pieces of the coating that have turned to sort of a gel. I got most of it off, but a little of it stayed on. The next photo shows just a real quick cleanup. I just took some fine sandpaper and sanded off the gel. Came right off, no problem. So we're going to polish these up, and by the time I'm done, they'll be nice and almost a mirror finish. I completed the electrolysis process on the first 3 pieces yesterday. So I put the other 2 pieces in right after that. They've been going about 24 hours now, so it'll take another 2 or 3 days for these to be completed. I did find on the first batch that there was some kind of protective coating on the surface of the slices. That turned to kind of a gel after a few days, so I had to pick it off with a pair of tweezers and kind of do the best I could. On these, I took some fine sandpaper and sanded off that coating before I put them into the tank. That should help speed the process up. Now, the first 3 are sitting in an alcohol bath off to the side, waiting for these to be completed. The alcohol is going to draw out any water that got into the grains from the bath and help dry it out. I would do that anyway. So when these are done, they'll go into the bath as well. And after they're all done, I'll bake the excess alcohol out, and then we'll go ahead and re-etch these things. So we are processing and progressing. These are the first 3 pieces that I finished doing the electrolysis on. I have 2 more to go. They're going to take about a week. So in order to keep them from re-rusting, I have them in a 99.9% isopropyl alcohol bath. They can sit there, and any moisture that was infused into the pieces from the electrolysis bath will get drawn out at the same time. So these will just have to wait a week or so. I'm setting up to etch this little piece of NWA iron that Topher sent me. See, it has a little bit of a pattern on it right now, but I'm not real happy with it. So we're going to go through and re-etch it. Now, I found out that these pieces are a little different to handle than what I normally do. So we're going to walk through that the next couple minutes. Now, what I've come up with is the first step is I have to sand this off. So that's got a little bit of a haze. It's not real pretty right now. So we'll sand that off. And then after I do that, we're going to wipe away any residue. I'm going to etch it. As soon as I etch it, I'm going to put it into this tank of isopropyl alcohol to rinse off the ferric chloride. Then immediately after that, I'm going to put it into a cleaner little tank of alcohol to let it soak. And then as soon as I'm done with that, I'm taking it out, and I'm going to use this heat gun to dry it out just so it gets warm, get all the alcohol off of it. And then we're going to immediately spray it with the clear coat automotive finish. And all that has to be done in just a couple of minutes. So it's kind of critical we do this quickly. All right, step one is just I'm taking some 3000 grit sandpaper. I'm lightly going to go over the surface, just to get rid of any imperfections, any discolorations. Doesn't take very much to do. I'm using a hard piece of wood to back it up so it doesn't bounce all over the place.
So this is a little work surface. And this doesn't take much at all, but you can see how it takes out the any pattern over there, and that's just dull gray, so that's how we have to do this again. Alright, the other side. I'm also tempted to make this a one finished side type piece, but I'm trying to get both. So this is a really tricky meteorite to work with. Okay. That's getting pretty good. So we'll spot down here at the end, get nice and shiny. Okay. And there we go, that's in pretty good shape. The funny thing is when there's no etching on it, it'll stay like that, pretty stable. Let's just hit one more little spot here, just a little shinier.
Okay, that's good to go. Okay, we're ready for the etching. And when done with that, we're going to put it into this tub of alcohol. So let's do that next. Okay, etching coming up. Etch is pretty fast. You can see it's already taken on a pattern. But I found that if I do it too quickly, the pattern is only on the surface, so I have to do it a little deeper. Keep it up for about a minute or so. Flip this one over. There we go. Fresh ferric chloride on there. Now I have the piece sitting in the puddle underneath it to kind of keep it wet, so it doesn't start sloughing off on me. That helps it to etch a little bit more. Okay, so I'm getting a nice dark etch on it. So this only takes about a minute. Okay, flip it over one more time. Okay, now we're done with this part. So thin I can't pick it up. Come on. There we go. Okay, that part is done. Now, real quick, it's going to go into the alcohol bath for just a minute so I can wash off the ferric chloride. Of course, I can only use this bath once because it becomes contaminated, but you see it's got a nice, very nice etch on it right now. Get it off my hands too. I'll be handling this some more. I don't want to have any more ferric chloride etching this thing. There. Okay, there we are. There's the pattern. It's amazing how it changes with the light, how it's refracted. It goes from dark to light. It's real glittery. Anyway, let's let that sit in there just a moment. Okay, now we're going to take this over to the clean tank Drip off. Let's rub off any excess alcohol. We don't want to transfer it. We want to transfer as little of the contaminated alcohol as possible. Okay, take this away. Here's the cleaner. We'll let that sit in there for a couple of minutes just to get rid of any other contaminants. Now these pieces have been sitting in an alcohol bath in this little tub right here for about a week, so I know all the water's been pulled out of it. I've done 2 pieces to kind of perfect this process. This is the 3rd piece I've done. I'm just going to show it as a sample. I'm not going to go through this with all the others on film. It just gets redundant. So, next, put all this aside, get it out of the way. That's all the paraphernalia. Next, I'm going to dry this with the heat gun. There's the heat gun. I'm just going to use it only for half a minute. It gets hot pretty quick. Sit down and do this. Okay, let's let it soak for another minute. And make sure everything's off the surface. Okay, so let's go ahead and take this out. And let me expand my little field of view here. There we go. Got my heat gun, get everything else set up to go. Okay. That aside. Heat gun's kind of loud. I'm putting it on high. Ooh, that's hot. Okay. I completed spraying the slice with this automotive clear coat that I've been using for a while. And I did both sides. Came out very nice, actually. Gives a good hard finish. So I have to hold this for about 15 minutes while it cures. And once it's done, that's it. We've completed this slice. All the pieces are now complete. I etched each one and coated it with the automotive clear coat. They do look a little different. Some are lighter, some are darker, but they all have the same grain structure. And there was a little bit of material loss. Some little tiny chips fell off as I was sanding out the pieces, but they're very small. So I also bought myself a 500-gram scale, accurate to about 1/100th of a gram. So I'll get some fairly accurate measurements. Because of material loss, I don't think it's going to mean very much, but at least we'll have weights. And I'm going to present these in the same order that I weighed them at the beginning of the video. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. I definitely learned a few more things about etching a meteorite slice in this process. This one was a little different than what I normally do. So with that, I'll say goodbye.